This blessed surah, Surah Al-Ma'idah, with the order of the surahs from the beginning. As we know, the Quran was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ in a different order. The Quran revealed in Mecca and the Quran revealed in Al-Medina. And it was revealed in such a way to raise the companions radiallahu anhum to be the best nation ever brought to mankind, and the same thing supposed to be for those who follow them with goodness. And also the order of the verses or the surahs of the Quran that we have today, although it's not the same order how it was revealed time-wise to the Prophet ﷺ, but this order is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As the Prophet ﷺ himself, he put these surahs in that order. So that's why the ulama, they talk about the significance of the order of the surahs. And it's meant to be in such a way that when the person read the Quran from the beginning and ponder over its meanings, one surah takes the Muslim to another one to build this perfect and comprehensive character of a Muslim. So we have Surah Al-Fatiha, the most comprehensive surah, that the whole Quran is summarized in Surah Al-Fatiha. That's why we recite it all the time in every salah. Surah Al-Baqarah, as we said, it's about the Quran as being guidance to mankind and the classifications of the human beings, and then all the theme of Surah Al-Baqarah refers back to the Quran, for people, for the reciter of the Quran to see that the Quran is the guidance and to seek the guidance from the Quran. Surah Al-Imran, Tawheed, the oneness of worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the foundation of the deen, and refuting the calls of those who associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Surah Al-Nisa, to establish the rules in the society, in the communities, especially those who are physically weak in the society. And then Surah Al-Ma'idah, after, if a person really recites the Quran from the beginning till the beginning of Surah Al-Ma'idah, that means that person is established. He's established on the deen. He's established on the covenant between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why you would find the surah is more stern towards those who disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No excuse. The matter has been explained in details, refuting all the doubts, making the matter so clear, no doubt whatsoever. Then the surah comes with the covenants from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His slaves. And that's why it's the first verse in the surah, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu awfu bil-uqud. O you who believe, fulfill al-uqud. Al-uqud, the covenants, the heavy covenants with heavy oaths between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and between you and everyone. Any means of covenant that you have between two parties, fulfill it in the most perfect way. The surah is Madaniyah, of course, as we know. It's the only surah in the Quran that starts with Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, which has a significance to it. And that's why there's 16 verses in the surah that starts with Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. The call from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this beautiful call from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the believers. If you have been reading from the beginning, if you are believers, then you have to submit yourself to what comes after this call. If you are believers, if you are among those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose and called them with this beautiful call, such an honor for the person when he reads this ayat. This ayat is talking to each and every one of us. But then the responsibility comes with it, that anything that comes after this call, a person has to follow. As Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he said, إِذَا سَمِعْتَ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فَرْعِ لَهَا سَمْعَكَ. If you hear Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, O you who believe, فَرْعِ لَهَا سَمْعَكَ means give it your ears. What comes after it, it's either an order you're ordered to do, or something you are forbidden from doing. So this is something when we're standing in the salah, we should pay attention to this. This is a call from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to each and every one of us. Are we fulfilling these orders from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This is a covenant. So the ayah, surah starts with Awfu bil-uqud, fulfill the covenants between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and between you and the human beings, and so on. And then the surah will mention some of these ahkam, some of these covenants, and stories from the nations before, what happened to them when they broke the covenant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the way of Allah is repeated. Right? It's not just for them, it's something that for every nation, those who do not fulfill the covenant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the outcome is the same. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful. He ordered the believers to fulfill the covenant when He, by His mercy subhanahu wa ta'ala, explained the matter so much for them, so clear to them, so easy for them. As it's mentioned in Surah Al-Nisa, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ. In Surah Al-Baqarah, And يريد الله أن يخفف عنكم in Surah An-Nisa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants ease for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to make it easy for you by fulfilling the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, and that's why even in the first ayah, يَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَوْفُوا الْعُقُودَ أُحِلَّتْ لَكُمْ بَهِيمَةُ الْأَنْعَامِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it permissible for you the cattle. So after the order to fulfill the covenant of Allah, the word halal comes in place. Right? So the matter is easy, in which before, in the surahs before, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warned Bani Israel and the nations before how they, when they broke the covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made haram for them what was halal on them. فَبِظُلْمٍ مِّنَ الَّذِينَ هَادُوا حَرَّمْنَا طَيِّبَاتٍ أُحِلَّتْ لَهُمْ. Previously, Surah An-Nisa. As a result of their transgressors upon themselves, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made haram for them what was halal, as a result of their actions. So Surah Al-Ma'idah is saying to the believers, right, this nation is different. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose you to be the final ummah, and you are supposed to still fulfill the covenant, because the matter is made easy for you. But if you break the covenant, it's the same outcome. And that's why, again, because of the time when you go through the surah, and in the beginning there are like a few nida'at, and Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, and one of which is for the wudu. And actually the second ayah, alladhina amanu, la tuhillu sha'air Allah. We who believe, do not make halal what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made sacred and forbidden for you to break. Right? In matters of hajj and halal and haram and food and drink and so on. Do not make what's haram halal. This is breaking the covenant. And how this can lead the person to such a severe destruction. Then the order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the believers to observe the wudu. Right? Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu idha qumtum ila as-salati faghsilu wujuhakum wa aydiyakum. Right? To purify oneself physically and spiritually and so on. Then after that, right, the mithaq is mentioned again, the covenant is mentioned again. وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ وَمِيثَاقَهُ الَّذِي وَاثَقَكُمْ بِهِ إِذْ قُلْتُمْ سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. Remember the favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon you, and His mithaq, His covenant with heavy oaths that He took upon you, when you said سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا, when you said we listen and we obey. And that happened before in the previous surahs, right? And this is by just saying La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, this is the covenant. This is the covenant that the Muslim take upon himself. That the only one that he will worship is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one that to be obeyed, the one that we submit ourselves to, and so on. And the only one to be followed is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Heavy covenant. Because of this covenant, because of this kalima, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens and the earth. So the implications of it and the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes under this covenant. And whoever separate between La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah and the orders and the rulers and everything, they did not really understand the deen of Islam. And that's why we need to re-evaluate how we see things. How the Sahaba radiallahu anhum took the deen. And how La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah was in all of their life, in all of their affairs. And they had the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If they break the covenant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this can lead them to their own destruction, even if they are the companions of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even said that to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, the best man ever walked on the face of earth. لَإِنْ أَشْرَكْتَ لَيَحْبَطَنَّ عَمَلُكَ وَلَتَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. If you commit shirk, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, of course the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would never do that. If you commit shirk, your deeds will be rendered and you will be among the losers. And if this is to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam the talk, how about the ummah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam? So the ayah is saying, remember the favor of Allah and His mithaq, His covenant that He took upon you when you said, سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا, we listen and we obey. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of His mercy and warning to this ummah. And by the way, the surah, many of the verses ends with what? Not إِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Not إِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ حَلِيمٌ. إِنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is severe in punishment. Inna Allah sari'ul hisab. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is swift in reckoning. This is how the balance is. And after the matter again has been mentioned clearly. It's not from the very beginning, it's after the matter has been mentioned clearly. So after reminding them about the covenant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when they said they listen and they obey, then the nations before was mentioned to see the sunnah of Allah. وَإِذْ أَخَذَ اللَّهُ مِيثَاقَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ وَبَعَثْنَا مِنْهُمْ 12 نَقِيبًا. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the covenant, mithaq, it's mentioned again, of Bani Israel, right? And the details of this mithaq. And it was mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ لَا تَعْبُدُونَ إِلَّا اللَّهَ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, and to be kind to your parents. وَذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينِ. These are the covenants. وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ. It's the same covenants, right? That also for this ummah, to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, to be kind to the parents, the poor, the wayfarers, and so on, establish the salah, pay the zakah, وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا, and say what is right and what is good to the people. So the covenant was taken from Bani Israel. What happened? Did they fulfill the covenant or not? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَبِمَا نَقَضِهِمْ مِيثَاقَهُمْ لَعَنَّاهُمْ وَجَعَلْنَا قُلُوبَهُمْ قَاسِيَةً. As a result of them breaking the covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we cursed them and we made their hearts hard. And as we said before, the way of the Quran, the worst punishment on earth is for the person's heart to be hard. Not to be able to see what is right and what is wrong anymore. To continue to be deviated till the moment of death. That's the worst punishment. That person can have the most wealth and the best health, right? And you think that this is as a favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on him. If he is established on the sins and deviation, this is the worst punishment. Because he will take this as an evidence that he is a good person. And he will continue to be deviant. So the worst punishment is the punishment when it comes to matters of the deen as a result of one's action. يُحَرِّفُونَ الْكَلِمَ عَنْ مَوَاضِعِهِ. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them in such a way? They altered the kalim, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from its place. And by the way, the tahrif, altering the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can be physically done, which is this ummah is protected from that. The Quran is protected from that. But there's another type of tahrif they did, and this ummah can still do. Changing what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. The book is there, the verses is there. But twisting the meanings to fulfill one's benefits and desires and so on and so forth. Turning away from the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Taking some of the verses and not others. Taking some of the deen and not others. This is all tahrif. This is all alteration to the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this is a punishment that again, and forgive me for repeating, but this is something to be repeated in this ummah is if they follow the same path of the nations before, even if they didn't reach like they did and turning totally from the deen, but turning away from some of the deen, they would receive some of the same punishment from the same sort. Hearts are hard, a person can be cursed, yes. And then the next ayah about the Nasara. What happened to them? When they broke the covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمِنَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ نَصَارَى أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَهُمْ. And from the people, those who said we are Nasara, we took the covenant. What did they do? فَنَسُوا حَظًّا مِمَّا ذُكِّرُوا بِهِ. They forgot or they turned away from a portion of what we had ordered them to do. Not the whole thing, a portion. فَنَسُوا حَظًّا مِمَّا ذُكِّرُوا بِهِ. What was the outcome? فَأَغْرَيْنَا بَيْنَهُمُ الْعَدَاوَةَ وَالْبَغْضَاءَ إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ. We made enmity and hatred among one another till the day of judgment. So this is another sunnah of Allah. Breaking the covenant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings what? Enmity and hatred among the people. So when we see things in this ummah, we should not be confused anymore. The matter is so clear in the Quran. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not change the situation of the people till they change themselves. So why there's enmity and so on? If people get together and they pay all the wealth and take all the means for them to be united, they would never be united. If they stay in the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and following other than the way of the Prophet ﷺ, and this is the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the Prophet ﷺ. لو أنفقت ما في الأرض جميعا ما ألفت بين قلوبهم ولكن الله ألف بينهم. If you spend all the wealth on earth to make their hearts together, you would never be able to do, O Messenger of Allah. Even the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imagine if people would think if the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was with us, the hearts will be together. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, even the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam would not be able to do that. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ أَلَّفَ بَيْنَهُمْ. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that brought their hearts together by this message, by them being obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is a very important message in the surah, that this ummah is not to take the matter lightly, not to think that they are chosen and that's it. No, there's no such a thing. And that's why the ayat talks about that very clearly. And the stories of Musa alayhi salam with his people, when he ordered them to go fight for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they turned away from the order of Musa alayhi salam, the punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came to them that they were dispersed in the land, lost in an area, like the Sinai Peninsula. If you take just one direction and you decided to walk without turning back, you would reach somewhere, right, after maybe 2 weeks, a month. For 40 years, they are lost in this, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, right? Lost because of what? Because of breaking the covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the story of the two sons of Adam, right? Again, breaking the covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes. And the name of the surah was mentioned, Surah Al-Ma'idah, referred to what? فَإِنِّي أُعَذِّبُهُ عَذَابًا لَا أُعَذِّبُهُ أَحْدًا مِنْ عَمَلٍ. I will bring it down to you. But whoever disbelieves after this, I will punish him a severe punishment that I won't punish anyone before. Again, it's always this link between the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the covenant, and breaking the covenant of Allah bring the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then also you would see many of these nida'at ya ayyuha alladhina amanu with regards to the al-khamr wal-maisir, gambling and drinking and so on, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade that on the believers. So something to do with food and drink, and how the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, the reaction was when these verses came down. Right? When the verses came down, see how they fulfilled this covenant. When whoever has, as Anas radiallahu anhu, he said, they were sitting in the house of Talha radiallahu anhu, and they were drinking. It was not haram yet. And when the verse in Surah Al-Ma'idah revealed, and someone came to them and he told them, I just came from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّمَا الْخَمْرُ وَالْمَيْسِرُ وَالْأَنْصَابُ وَالْأَزْلَامُ رِجْسٌ مِنْ عَمَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ, and so on. Immediately, they broke the bottles. Whoever had some in his mouth, he spat it out. He did not swallow that and say till starting tomorrow, or making his own calculations and this or that. Immediate submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose this generation to be the best generation ever brought to mankind. Because of what? Because of the submission to the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and never breaking the covenant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even in the story of Musa alayhi salam, when the people of Musa alayhi salam, they said to him, اذهب أنت وربك فقاتلا إنها هنا قاعدون. When Musa alayhi salam ordered them to fight for the sake of Allah, they said to Musa alayhi salam, you and your Lord go fight, and we will stay here. And as a result of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Musa alayhi salam, فَإِنَّهَا مُحَرَّمَةٌ عَلَيْهِمْ 40 سَنَةً يَتِيمُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. As a result of that statement, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade that land on them. The Sahaba radiallahu anhum, on the other hand, when the Prophet ﷺ gathered them to consult them with regards to the battle of Badr and so on, and one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, when he understood what the Prophet ﷺ wanted to say to them, and he said to him, O Prophet of Allah, if you take us to the ocean, to the sea, we'll go with you. We won't tell you what Bani Israel said to Musa alayhi salam. اذهب أنت وربك فقاتلا إنها هنا قاعدون. We will say to you, اذهب أنت وربك فإن معكما مقاتلون. You go and your Lord fight, and we will with you. Right? Submitting themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, there are some of the rulings with remembering the ni'mah, the favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected them. Also warning to the believers, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَنْ يَرْتَدَّ مِنْكُمْ عَنْ دِينِهِ. O you who believe, whoever renegade from the religion, فَسَوْفَ يَأْتِ اللَّهُ بِقَوْمٍ يُحِبُّهُمْ وَيُحِبُّونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring another people, another generation. They love Him and He loves them. Right? And the qualities of these people, يُحِبُّهُمْ وَيُحِبُّونَهُ أَذِلَّةٍ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَعِزَّةٍ عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ. Humble towards the believers, turn against the disbelievers. يُجَاهِدُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. They fight for the sake of Allah. وَلَا يَخَافُونَ لَوْمَةَ لَائِمٍ. They don't fear nobody when it comes to the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see the severe warning, right? And it shows the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to those who submit themselves and fulfill the covenant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also with these verses, you would find some of the rulings, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا شَهَادَةِ for regards to a sight, with hunting, right? Rulings of Hajj and so on. So different rulings. And the end, the story of Isa alayhi salam with his people, and how it happened, what would happen in the Day of Judgment, and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Isa alayhi salam, did you tell your people to worship himself, meaning Isa alayhi salam, besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And he explained the matter, alayhi salam, مَا قُلْتُ لَهُمْ إِلَّا مَا أَمَرْتَنِي بِهِ. I did not tell them anything except what you ordered me to do. أن يعبدوا الله ربي وربكم, that you worship my Lord and your Lord, till the end of the verses. And the Prophet ﷺ, towards the end of Surah Al-Ma'idah, as it's mentioned in the authentic hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, one time he was reciting Surah Al-Ma'idah and he recited, إِن تُعَذِّبُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ عِبَادُكَ وَإِن تَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ فَإِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. He kept on reciting it, ﷺ, which means if you punish them, this is what Isa ﷺ would say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you punish them, they are your slaves. And if you forgive them, it's not that you are the most forgiver. See, وَإِن تَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ, normally, وَإِن تَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ, you are the most forgiver. No, وَإِن تَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ, if you forgive them, you are فَإِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ, the Almighty, the most wise. The context is not a context of forgiveness if a person dies in the state of disbelief, right? Which shows again the covenant of Allah and breaking the covenant of Allah. So the Prophet ﷺ would recite it and weep, and keep on repeating it because of the concern that he had ﷺ towards this ummah. And as it's mentioned in the authentic hadith, Jibreel ﷺ came to the Prophet ﷺ and he revealed to the Prophet ﷺ what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, that إِنَّا سَنُرْضِيكَ فِي أُمَّتِكَ وَلَا نَسُوءُكَ. O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we will make you pleased with your ummah and we would not make you displeased with the affairs of this ummah, 2/3 of the ummah in Jannah. But this is the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the warning and the severe warning for those who break the covenant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's a night, if a person is listening to Surah Al-Ma'idah, to have the hearts ready for this, for the person to have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we need to take the religion seriously, not to break the covenants with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful. It would never bring any difficulty or any bad things. It will bring all means of goodness in this life and in the hereafter. And the very comprehensive ayah in Surah Al-Ma'idah, it was said Surah Al-Ma'idah was the last surah that was revealed with differences of opinions there, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحِ and others. And in it, الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. On that day, I completed your religion, perfected my favor upon you, and pleased for you as the religion of Islam to be your religion. This ayah that a Jew came to Umar radiallahu anhu and he said, there is an ayah in your book, if it was revealed on us, meaning Bani Israel, we would make that day a Eid. And he said, what is this ayah? He said this ayah to him. He said this was on the day of Arafah when the Prophet ﷺ was given the farewell khutbah, and this was a Eid of the Muslim. This ayah by itself should bring so much rejoice in the hearts of those who have the concern of the deen, those who want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the religion is complete. You don't have to worry too much, just follow the deen. Don't think that you can do something based on your own intellect and so on to benefit the deen. No, the deen is completed, just follow the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's been perfected and completed. So there's nothing else to be added to it. After the Prophet ﷺ departed from this life, the matter is finished, the wahy is terminated, and the job of the ummah is to follow, not to innovate things, not to start things, but to follow the way of the Prophet ﷺ. This is the way of their success in this life and hereafter. And the warning, if they don't follow, then the same sunnah, the same way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the nations before will be applied on this ummah. But still the ummah still have mercy, because they would still be in the state of Islam. So the punishment will be in this dunya as long as a person die in the state of Islam and seeking mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us benefit from the Quran and to forgive our sins. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak Muhammad wa sallam.